ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯ ವಕೀಲರ ಪರಿಷತ್ತು ಹಾಗೂ KSBC ಲಾ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಯವರು ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಡುತ್ತಿರುವ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. Dear friends, today's subject is artificial intelligence, whether it's a boon or bane. Now, in India, as you're aware, there is no comprehensive legislation dealing with artificial intelligence. We have, of course, the Information Technology Act, which covers some of the areas. In the coming decades, there will be several serious questions to be answered by the courts and also the lawyers, whether, for example, pertaining to the copyright violation or creation of patent, for example. Now, you may be aware that last month, a batch of writers, including the famous John Grisham, who wrote such books as The Firm, The Pelican Brief, and Time to Kill and all, they made a complaint against the ChatGPT for the copyright violation. Now, tomorrow, if ChatGPT or the artificial intelligence creates the material which is copyright protected, of course, there will be infringement under the Copyright Act. But if a new material is created by artificial intelligence in the form of copyright material or patent material, what would be the implications of it? Who will own the copyright? Who will own the patent? Dasare, you don't move. So therefore, these intricate questions will be coming before the judiciary over a period of time. As of now, I can see there are 182 judgments which refer to artificial intelligence. The Supreme Court of India is using the artificial intelligence for the purpose of translating some of the judgments. And to discuss this issue, we have with us a very well-known speaker and also a scholar on the subject, Srimati Ashwini Dasare. Ashwini Dasare is a research scholar pursuing her PhD in Indian Institute of Information Technology, Dharwad, and she is working on the project sponsored by the Ministry of Electronics and Technology, Government of India. She has 5 years of teaching experience. She has completed her master's in digital electronics and communication from Dayanand Sagar College of Engineering, Bangalore. Our primary research focus is in the world of making computers talk like humans and turning one voice into another. Recently, Ashwini had an exciting opportunity to attend the Interspeech conference in the United Kingdom. It's a flagship conference in her field. Out of 1,500 research papers across the globe, 25 were Indian papers, and one among them was Ashwini's work. There she presented her research on preserving endangered tribal languages in India through artificial intelligence. This is a very noble job, because I came across an article written by Dr. Ishwar Bhatt, Vice Chancellor of the university, that how the preservation of languages is the biggest challenge in India and also the worldwide, also across the worldwide. Every year, several languages are vanishing from the Indian and global scenario permanently. Along with the languages, some of the medicinal values, the culture, the script, everything, is vanished. Therefore, what Ashwini is doing is a commendable job. So without much delay, I request Ashwini to take over the session and deliver the lecture on the artificial intelligence, Boon or Bane, also from the legal perspective. After the speech, of course, there will be a question and answer session. And you can also directly ask the questions or write it on the chat box. So thank you very much. Ashwini, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the introduction. I am unable to share the screen. Host disable participant screen sharing is what am I getting. So if you could let me, I can start presenting.
I will do that. Only 1 second. I think you can share now. Can you try now?
Yeah.
Multiple participants can share simultaneously. That's what it says.
No, but I am unable to.
Yes. Multiple. You can. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. You can't see that?
entire screen. Just a minute. Okay.
Can I make you host?
Yeah, no. I am. Just let me know if you can see my screen. Just a minute.
Thank you, Mr. Sangresh. He is representing MP College from Aurangabad. Can you share the screen now?
Yeah. Okay. Can you see my slides?
Yes, I can see that. Request to the members, this is a bar council function. Please do not try to, scratch on the screen and all that, because we will come to know who done it, and we will initiate the proceedings if it is a lawyer. So you proceed, Ashwini.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. So, as Sir has rightly mentioned, it's a need of the hour that we need to discuss about this, overtly talked and what is called the topic, which is kind of very much burning everywhere from the technological perspective as well as legal perspective. So how is it helpful? Is it boon or is it a bane? Any technological information or any inventions they have taken place have always had a huge debate. One among them is artificial intelligence in this era. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I will be talking about the definition because this is my first lecture where I'm addressing non-technical audience. Kindly pardon me if I am slightly more than a layman terms. You can please stop me and ask me whenever you feel it is not up to the mark. So I'll start with the definition, history, evolution, how it has evolved, and applications of AI, and what are the legal implications. So I just want to keep the lecture kind of two-way. I just don't want to talk. If questions are asked, you can type your answers in chat bot, or you can just unmute yourself and answer. Okay, so how do you define? So everybody is talking about this artificial intelligence, machine learning. Has it come recently, or did it exist way back? We shall discuss all that. So how do you define? So whenever somebody says what is an artificial intelligence or what is an AI, how do you define it? Okay, so if you go by the textbook definition or computer definition itself, so it's the ability of a digital computer or a computer controlled machine to perform tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings. So it should be able to perform all the actions or all the deeds which are very much related to human cognition. It should be performing the task on par with human cognition. So that is what artificial intelligence is all about. So in a layman term, we can say that it's the ability to mimic human cognition as much as possible. If not 100%, at least 90%, if machine can imitate the human cognition, that's called an artificial intelligence. Okay, so along with that, artificial intelligence is a very vast field. It also comes with one more term called machine learning. You must have heard of deep learning era, machine learning. So are they same, or are they different? So artificial intelligence you can consider as a vision. Probably you all are aware of there is a vision and there are objectives to achieve a particular vision. So you break down your objectives into missions. So AI can be considered as a vision. So you want to see something big. So in order to achieve AI or the capability of a machine to that of a human level, you need to train it. So machine learning is the method to train a computer to learn from its inputs, but it is not explicit programming. Okay, so we have a programming task also. where usually the mathematical operations or the gaming, everything takes place in a programmed way. There is a fixed structure that if this is an input, this is going to be a output. So that is explicit programming. But wherein machine learning, it deals with something which is not the explicit programming, it usually deals or learns from the data or what input we give. So it requires a kind of intelligence. It's not the classification problem or a task where it requires intelligent judgment to make the decision. Sorry. So machine learning helps a computer to achieve artificial intelligence. So usually people use both AI and ML together. They're not one and the same, but they're closely related. In order to achieve the artificial intelligence, one has to learn the machine learning things to achieve that task. So machine learning helps the computer to become more intelligent. Okay, the machine learning can be considered as algorithm, which helps the machine to be more intelligent. So the better algorithm you put in machine learning task, so the more intelligent robot you get, or the computing machine you will get, something like that. Okay, so when did it evolve? So everybody is talking about AI/ML. Probably after 2015, it became talk of town. So does it mean that the evolution has taken place from 1950s? So if you go back to the history, both the atomic evolution as well as this machine learning took place simultaneously. So though the revolutionary paths were very different, both technologies were viewed as posing an existential threat to humanity. Okay, so atomic age, where it has come now from 1950s, the same way, even though machine learning or artificial intelligence topic were existing in 1950s, it didn't have enough market, and we didn't have enough computation power. So if you go back, the bulky computer machines, they were very limited in their computing powers. So thanks to the GPU, you must be aware of anyone who uses computer, at least nowadays. If you want to purchase a computer, you do go for the GPUs, which have more computing power. So with the invention of GPUs, machine learning and artificial intelligence became more popular because it could take enormous of data and process. So earlier that was a limitation. Even though it did exist way back in 50s, it didn't become that popular. So how did it evolve? I just want to take through the major or a revolutionary timeline where it has started. Okay, so first 1950, as I said, it did exist then. So the computer game program claiming to be able to beat the checkers world champion in 1950. That was the first thing. So they just prepared a set of rules. So the game of checker is very popular in China. It is considered to be as complex a game as chess. You have to make a move based on the opponent's movement. So that checker, world champion checker, was beaten by the computer game program in 1950. So that was the first ray of hope for artificial or machine learning engineers, where they thought that, okay, we can now compute with human beings. That was the first thing. And in 1994, the first self-driving car made a road test. You must be aware that Google owns its own self-driving cars called Waymo. They are already on road in the US, where they do not require a human driver. They will take you wherever you instruct them to take. So the first self-driving car made a road test. Just it was not in the market, but 1994 people thought that with this artificial intelligence, we can actually build a self-driving car. Then in 1997, Deep Blue beat the world champion Gray. This was also a very debated topic in 1997, where people asked why a world champion should go and or test his capability with a machine learned algorithm. But whatever said and done, even then the world champion was beaten by again artificial intelligent machine. So in 2009, Google started building self-driving cars, and 2014 robot started doing their bit in healthcare, could be in operation session, and also in the human vision surpassed by the ML systems. And 2017 onwards, this took an exponential growth where people started talking about it, be it in case of medical domain, be it on the self-driving cars, be it robots everywhere. 2017 onwards, because these giant companies hit the market with their self-driven cars, which is nothing but a robot. It's nothing but a robot. The car, it is structured, but inside whatever the intelligent machine is there, which acts just like a robot. So this is the evolution. After 2017 onwards, people are talking about it. It's everywhere. And I also forgot to mention, in 2015, the ChatGPT invention did take place. It was based on the text generation. And by 2019, again, ChatGPT was also in the market, and it is for free use for all of us. So that's the evolution. So even though we are talking it now, it did exist way back. So we just need to know when it started. So that was a brief history and evolution. So what are AI capabilities? Where we can use it? Predictive analytics. It can be used in prediction. It could be stock market, house price prediction, name any prediction given the past history. So again, AI requires a huge amount of data. Anything which is fed with the data with the past history, it will be able to identify. So given a list of house prices for a particular dimension in the last year, if you have the data and if you feed it, it will be able to predict, given this is the dimension, this is the area, locality, what would be that. And again, the stock share predictions based on that, and the recommendation engines. So you must be all aware, most of you use Android or Apple phones. So if you just swipe left, there is a recommendation used based on your search history. Again, that is a capability of AI. So without your knowledge, you are actually in turn helping the machine to learn your interest, and thereby it is recommending you the news. Probably what you search mostly, if you are in the legal firm, you will be searching something related to your case history, whatever. So it will be suggesting the news which is very much relevant to your field. So it is again depending. So where the data is coming from your search history. So if you are searching something in Google, it is all taken for training. So this person has searched on this topic for a multiple number of times. So I should be able to recommend the same thing. So recommendation engines works on artificial intelligence, speech recognition, and so that's my field where I'm working, and that's my research topic as well. So speech recognition and natural language understanding. Hey Google and Siri are also speech recognition machines. So whatever you talk, it is able to recognize and reply to the queries you give. Okay, so that's a speech recognition module. And also you must be having in your homes Alexa. Definitely, it's also a speech recognition machine. So it is able to understand the natural language spoken by human beings. So that's a capability of AI. Did anyone think that something we would get something so amazing that it would respond to any naturally asked questions? So machine does it. So you ask Alexa the weather, you ask Alexa what is the news today, it will be able to do just like a human being, though it is a machine. So that's a AI capability again. And image and video processing. Again, this is again extension of AI, I say. So far we used to just search giving a text or a prompt. Now we have come to the era where image and video processing is also part of AI capability. How? I'll tell you now. If you ask ChatGPT, maybe the advanced version, if you are a paid member of ChatGPT, it will be able to, if you just feed image, it will try to write, seeing an image, the story about it, and it will also tell the minute details present in the image. So why is it relevant? How is it important? Because image and video processing are important from a robot or a self-driving car perspective, because it will see everything as an image, right? Of course, our eyes act as camera in case of human beings. For machines, cameras, images are very, very important to make decisions. So if car is going on a road, so the objects or the human beings, so every minute detail about that image is very much important. So and image and video processing um, from the point of view, if you consider a robot or a self-driving car, very important. And it has also outbidden. The human may not be able to identify the minute details given an image. Okay, so that's our limitation. So there is a popular competition, right? So if you are given, they will keep a table and arrange all the items on a table and ask you and give you sometimes around 5 or 10 minutes and ask you to recall how many are there. Probably very rare cases where human beings will be able to tell all the or recall all the objects present on a table. Okay, so that's our limitation. But in case of if you train a machine learning algorithm to capture the image and remember, it does a far better job than a human beings. So that's where again, it's a debated topic. We cannot say self-driving cars are better than humans, but at least in case of the memory management and the computation power, they are better than human beings. Okay, so generative machines, which is again a very controversial topic, which I'll be talking in detail in the preceding slides. So ChatGPT, so generative machines. So how it does is, again, it is based on the data you have fed, the text. It is something like, okay, my name is, whenever I say my name is, you all try to predict the next, what am I going to say is my name. The similar way, how this machine learning algorithms or how artificial intelligence works is, there is an algorithm. So you feed enormous of data, be it the newspaper, be it the blogs, okay, whatever you share on the social media, whatever text you share with your friends, okay, all the information they take. And whenever it's very much obvious that whenever someone says my name is, the next thing they are going to say is the probability of saying their name is probably 90%. I don't say 100, people might say something else, but that is a very rare case. So my name is always ends with a name. So that's a human cognition we are all trained on. So machine does it to a greater extent with the statistical programming, where it has seen such data for a multiple number of times. So it will be able to predict the next word much better than the human beings. That's why, so it is always told that what we read influences us a lot. So if you are from a literature background, if you are writing something, if you are into this poetry and all, you have influence of someone you have read, right? You have a great influence, you try to imitate person whom you have read a lot. Okay, in case of ChatGPT, the problem is it has not read a single person, it has read multiple. So you can imagine ChatGPT's capability as some millions of creative minds. So it should be able to do, because the cognition of individuals which has gone into the text or the natural language, the machine has learned so much. So with learned algorithms, it should be able to generate something on its own, but given the uh, data which was previously written by human beings. Okay, so that's the capability of ChatGPT. So I will be talking about ChatGPT in brief, and also if you want me to, I can also give a demo. Probably by now everybody must have used it. If you want me to give a prompt there and get the answer, we will do it, or else I just go with it. I have made a few slides based on my previous queries. Okay, so ChatGPT, why we have to discuss, I will also talk about it. So GPT stands for a generative pre-trained transformer. As I mentioned, it generates, given past two words, what is the third word? So it's trying to generate given the input. So it's a type of artificial intelligence model designed for natural language processing task. ChatGPT was developed by OpenAI. So it was actually developed for a research purpose. People wanted to know whether we will be able to teach a machine to write the way humans do. So it was founded in 2015. and now it can do things much better than human beings. Okay, so it is everywhere now. ChatGPT, from telling you, from cracking a joke, it can write poems, it can create fake scenarios, and it will help students to write their assignment. It will also help researchers to write paper. It's everywhere. So ChatGPT is now, people also say that it's a replacement for Google. So far, Google would only list the number of similar sites where we can go and find the answers for it, but wherein ChatGPT is exclusively giving us the answer. I don't have to search number of sites. Instead, I get all my information in a single window. So people say that it's also a threat to Google. Again, it is debatable. So the theme behind OpenAI. So this is important. Elon Musk, as all of you must be knowing Elon Musk. So he was the major shareholder when it started in 2015. So later he came out in 2018 because it took when Microsoft tried to commercialize this product. He thought this is going to create a problem, a havoc in the society. So he stepped out, and very frequently he keeps giving statements about ChatGPT. But it was his brainchild, we can say. He started in 2015. Now somebody owns, again, it's a group of OpenAI members. So that is how ChatGPT started. So I just wanted to, now we humans from the technical perspective define it some way. So when I asked ChatGPT to define itself, this is what it said. So it says that I'm a ChatGPT, a computer program based on that particular architecture. That's a transformer architecture, what I mentioned earlier. And it tells the company who developed it, and I'm designed to process and generate human-like text based on the input provided to me. So that is how it defines. It's not my answer. So the ChatGPT itself defines that way. So again, it also mentions some important points which are matter of concern now. I don't possess consciousness, self-awareness, or emotions. Instead, I rely on patterns and information present in the text data I was trained on to generate the responses. Okay, so there is a problem which all of you in the legal firm need to come up with a solution. Like, someone who doesn't have a consciousness and self-awareness or emotions, can we hold that machine responsible for something which it has generated, which would create problem? Okay, so my purpose is to provide information, answer questions, and assist with various tasks to the best of my knowledge and ability. So it clearly mentions, okay, so it is also telling its what capabilities, and it's also mentioning its limitations, right? So it clearly says that whatever is being generated is based on the trained data. So it is consistently generating. It is not making a conscious effort to answer the question. So whatever it is answering is not with the awareness. Of course, machine do not have emotions. That's a different parallel track where people are trying to teach emotions to machines also. So that's not in the scope of this talk. But so all the three important aspects, whenever we see say intelligence, it comes with these three. Okay, so whenever we make the decisions are based on the intelligence. Of course, the intelligence also has the past history of the bitter, good, and exciting experiences. So it doesn't have consciousness first. So of course it depends on the past data. Again, though the pattern of the data could be biased. We do not know what kind of a data it is trained on, right? So that's the limitation. So capabilities, as I mentioned, it can help in the decision making. Conversational AI, it will just respond to you in a way any human beings would do. So if you ask a question, it will answer like a normal human being, but in the form of text. There is also a speech module associated with it. Okay, so the text generated can be read like a human being. So that is a speech synthesis. Again, that's a part of artificial intelligence. But right now it is only doing in the form of text. But there is also speech models attached to it. Then it will be able to converse just like. So it's a bit different from Siri or Alexa, because Siri and Alexa are just the question answering chatbots. This is a conversational AI. So there is a different question answer. There is a fixed set of questions, and for every term in a question or a token in a question, it will be able to answer. Machine will be able to answer. Conversation is something like it's a more human in nature, right? So usually when we talk to people, we converse. It's not just a formal way of communicating. So conversational AI. So that's why ChatGPT became very popular. It does in a conversational way. Programming and technical knowledge, of course, it will also solve your bugs. So any software engineer or a computer programmer is having a bug for a longer time. If he posts his query to solve where is the bug, I'm not able to find out, it will be able to do it. Again, that's a potential risk where people say that if that can solve the problem of a computer engineer, it will be able to hack the machines also. That's a threat. And it can also act as a research assistant, and it could also, the very important aspect, the legal and ethical guidance. It can offer general information and explanation on legal and ethical topics. But see, the important part I liked about ChatGPT is it's very much self-aware. So it clearly mentions that I am not a substitute for a legal advice. So you can just take a preliminary advice from me, but if something really need to be addressed, you cannot consider me as a substitute, it says, which in a way it's good, but I don't know how people would take it. Will they just rely on it, or will they actually address or come to the legal person? So that's individual's opinion. So health and medical information, as I mentioned, it can also give some preliminary precautions for a particular disease. So it is trained on a multiple domain again. Okay, a large number of number of data is fed to the machine, be it in a medical field, be it entertainment industry, everywhere. So it is a pre-trained model. You can fine tune. Okay, ChatGPT can again, they will also give their API to use for your, if you want to just use it for a legal firm and you want to utilize the ChatGPT to solve the preliminary doubts of your clients in your case, in your organization. So what they will do, so you have to request this OpenAI platform, and on the pre-trained model has already seen a lot of data of different domain. They will fine tune with the legal data on top of it. So that is called a fine tuning. So then it will be able to assist from the legal perspective in a much better way. So that's how they give their APIs. Okay, whatever we have now for a free usage, it's kind of jack of all. It does for every other task. But it is not specialized. If you want it to be a specialized thing, so you will have ChatGPT for legal entity itself, for healthcare itself, for entertainment itself, or for research assistance itself. So it's again the fine-tuning job of AI. So again, entertainment and fun, these are the capabilities. Okay, so this is what our interest lies today, law firm and ChatGPT. So what are our interest here? So legal research, in case of law firm, AI can assist lawyers in conducting legal research by quickly analyzing vast volumes of legal documents. You can just feed in. I'm not sure if it is available for the free version, the paid version. Of course, they have commercialized the product, so it comes with a cost. All these kind of complicated activities, they probably not give it for free. I haven't tried it. You must answer if you have done it. So you can just feed a large number of your papers or the documents, and it will summarize very quickly all the legal documents and give you a handy notes. Okay, so document review and contract analysis. It can review and analyze contracts, legal documents, and agreements for inconsistencies, errors, So if it is not following the legal standards, it will identify that. So it kind of, you can consider it is a kind of assistant to advocates, where it can reduce their job of addressing this, less important problems. Okay, so predictive analytics, AI can analyze historical case data to predict case outcomes or estimate the potential value of settlements. So you don't have to depend on the past history data. You can just feed, the machine will take care of it. So till here it is fine, no problem. All these are the mundane jobs which a machine can definitely take over and reduce the burden on the law firm. Okay, so now this is the topic of interest where we have to discuss, and this is also a topic of concern. Now, it might give there is an intellectual property rights. I am not sure because I'm not from this background. You must be able to help me understand this also, because nowadays everywhere we are using. Okay, so the data we are not sure. I am a blogger. I do write my articles in Kannada or English. I'm not sure if Google has, Facebook has used it, because they have never taken my consent, or while using the app unknowingly have I ticked that my data can be used. I'm not aware of it. They are taking it. I'm not sure whether it is following the pattern I write, because it must have seen some millions of writing patterns like me. Okay, so I cannot claim, but I could be one of the members where I'm not aware my data is being used. So can I claim my intellectual property right in that case? Why Google didn't announce that all the data, they will be Google or Facebook, whatever it is, or because it is a social media, publicly my data is available. Even OpenAI must have script all the data from the web, and they must have used it. So who owns this intellectual property rights? Is it the machine it owns, or is it the OpenAI founders, or the person who fed the data, or the person who wrote the program for the computer, for the machine to run it? Who owns it? We are not sure of it. Along with that intellectual property right, there is also a concern now. Assume that artificial intelligence is used in order to classify cancerous and non-cancerous image in a medical domain, right? So if data, why do we talk about bias in the data? Okay, so probably I have one more slide where we will be talking about the bias, but it is also important. I just want to tell, because intellectual property rights also say that medical images are very much private. Somebody who had the disease may not be willingly wishing to share the information or the images which he had undergone during his operation or treatment, right? So now if there is a mismatch in the cancerous and non-cancerous data, and machine is fed the same way, assume that cancerous images are more, non-cancerous images are less, then the ability of the machine to predict the cancerous would be more than the non-cancerous. In that case, it would also misclassify the non-cancerous patient as cancerous. Then who will be held responsible? Is it the doctor or the machine? If machine would say that I was fed by the data engineer with this data, so he is responsible. But again, data, who curated it? So does he also has some property rights in machine building? These things are very much debatable, but we are not aware whom to hold accountable for all these acts. Okay, so intellectual property rights and data privacy, as I mentioned. So even when I feed a query into ChatGPT, my information is stored, because I will first log in from my Gmail account. Gmail has all my information, including my phone number, my date of birth, everything. I am not willing to share all my information. I am just interested in knowing what answer it is giving. But Ashwini of this age, from this area, is asking this question. All this data is being captured. So who is actually monitoring that data privacy issue? So this is again an open topic which we do not have answer. And ethical use. Who knows what for ChatGPT is actually used? Whether everybody is using it for ethical use itself. Now, okay, I am pursuing my PhD in artificial intelligence, but so is it ethical if I use ChatGPT to write my research paper? Because I'm not copying from someone else. Machine has already learned from so many people. So is it ethical to use ChatGPT and write my paper? Because then definitely I will not get a plagiarism because it has not copied from someone. It has learned from other people and it has done. So in that case, whether should I be putting ChatGPT as one of the co-authors or am I the author? Because I have given the prompt. So who will answer those questions? So ethical use, again, it is a debated thing. Some top-notch flagship conference, they clearly mentioned that you cannot claim ChatGPT as a co-author. If you don't, so will you, lie to yourself and consciousness that though you have used ChatGPT, you want to claim that you have written it? So again, it's up to individuals. There is again a problem. User consent. That's why user consent, we are not sure whether we have given our consent because terms and conditions are so complicated. We don't have enough time to read over it. We just click every time we install an app. So have we given our consent with consciousness? It was just taken as a formality and we are not aware of it. Now if it is being already used, what if I want to take it back? I don't want my data to be used. How to go forward? Okay, so to my knowledge, I know European Union has a very strict rules in case of data privacy and this user consent. Because recently when I had been to UK, whenever I used to open my app for anything, be it Facebook, WhatsApp, every time it would ask me for my consent. Are you willing to share your data? When I say no, a different window would pop up and then do. So in India, we have never seen it. So from Indian perspective, Indian data privacy, you people should sort it and help layman to understand how and whether we should be giving a consent or not in that case. Okay, so these are the disadvantages. So I made a attempt to ask the legal implication to ChatGPT itself. So I asked my question, are you aware of your legal implications? So again, it said the same thing, which it had previously mentioned in the first case, define yourself, right? So it's making, see, the same statements again and again, because it doesn't have any consciousness. So I'm not having awareness. So I don't have legal implication, it says. And it's not my responsibility. I am just a computer program that processes and generates text based on the input I receive. So if you have questions about legal matters, legal advice, you have to consult a qualified, advocate. So that is what it says. Okay, so it is not trying to take the responsibility. It says I am not aware of all those things. So it's again up to us. So have you taken the consent of the authors of the data you are trained on? That's what I do. So ChatGPT is already trained on so much of data, whether the authors of whatever, be it a newspaper editor or the article of a newspaper where some of the writers have used bloggers or any social media person who has written, whether the consent and the textbook, probably it has trained on a digital textbook also, digital available textbook or what novels. So all the authors will have their copyrights, right? It should not be produced. But is it okay to reproduce the same data in a different form? So Harry Potter is such a famous novel. So you feed the information of Harry Potter to ChatGPT and ask you to rewrite it. It will definitely do it where you cannot make out the pattern of the Harry Potter author. But is it legal? So can we do it? So can somebody publish the same rewriting the material? So how is it? Who is going to take the responsibility of this generation and who is going to stop such adverse usage? Okay, one important thing when I was asked by Baswaraj sir to talk about it, I wasn't aware of this legal implication so much because we are, in the field where we want to make machine more intelligent. That's it. So our job as researchers or scientists is to make a computer more, human friendly, more intelligent. There I came across two papers. Okay, one paper where people have addressed ChatGPT if it goes to a law school. Probably it is a US paper. So this is the link I have given. If I can open. Let me just check. Is it visible? The paper is visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So this is one paper where people, they are also advocates and also professors in a law school. What if ChatGPT goes to a law school? I was just doing some research where people have taught. This is 2023 paper where what they have done is actually they have combined the answer generated by ChatGPT with the normal students who have written offline in a school. Okay, so they have combined and see ChatGPT could perform at a level of C plus grade, which is relevant to have a degree. It could do that job and it could score C plus. So now they have mentioned how they have done, how they have conducted the experiment, what are the methods they have adopted to evaluate. They have just mixed this answer script with the regular students and gave it to professors who were not aware whether it was generated by ChatGPT or a regular student, and they evaluated, and it also passed the exam. Now the concern is, so after the pandemic, things have changed. So not everything, be it this session also, not everything is offline. Everything can be done online. So we are convinced so much so that the assignment and exams, in the worst case, I can write it from home. So in that case, somebody who is using ChatGPT, when the professors while evaluating couldn't get it, people can very much use it. The law students can very much use it. So interested can go through this paper. This is very interesting paper. They have given a list of things a student could do with ChatGPT without letting the professor know that they have copied it from ChatGPT. So that's the concern they have addressed. This is the 2023 paper where what if ChatGPT goes to a law school? It will also pass with the flying colors, and it's a hard thing. A student who has not actually studied can actually excel using ChatGPT. So that's one debate. One more is some of the people say, what if? Okay, ChatGPT, it is a debate. Again, it's left open for discussion or debate. So what if ChatGPT wrote it? What is the problem in it? Okay, so if it is helping students to write, few of the journals allow people to claim that I have generated content from ChatGPT and I'm okay to use it. So multidisciplinary perspective on opportunities and challenges and implications of generative AI. So here authors have claimed. So there was a concern in the previous case. Here people say, what if we use? Nothing wrong in it. As long as we are not actually copying the content of a particular author or a particular writer, it's okay to use ChatGPT is the argument of these authors. So these were the interesting topics because it was published in 2023. I thought it is important to uh, take your attention on these papers. So anybody interested can read it. It is also mentioned as a part of link in the slides. So that was about the debate. So the concern, as I mentioned, okay, so after this, when I also said 2015, Elon Musk was part of it. 2018, he came out. Now in 2022 onwards, they started, instructing the authority to halt the training of ChatGPT because they don't want any machine to be further trained using any available data online. So why? Because that's a concern. Should we develop a non-human mind that might eventually outnumber, outsmart, and obsolete and replace us? So that's a concern. We should not let, because any given day, a machine which is trained on 10 human what cognition is much better than an individual person. So my competition with 10 minds doesn't make sense. If it is individual, of course it does make sense because we are in the competitive world and every day we compete with each other, but it is individual because it's one-on-one fight. So when 10 minds together come, for any individual it is difficult to fight, be it in any domain. So should that happen is a concern, and they're all signing. So if you online search for stop ChatGPT training, you will get a lot of links, and there is some form you have to click, and how many people have signed for it. All the information you will get. So AI system poses significant risk to democracy through weaponized disinformation, to employment through displacement of human skills, and to education through plagiarism and demotivation is again one more concern. So as I mentioned, there is information privacy, anonymity. We don't know who, what, when, how, and there could be a non-discrimination and ownership of information. Again, this again, while discussing with Sir, he mentioned me about a few of the cases in the US, because the data has seen more of the black people, committing the crime. So in case of automated thing, while giving a judgment, so every black person is rejected a bail because he has a past criminal history, and there is some score which based on the crime he performs, there is some score. So machine.
It's called AI bias.
Yeah.
The algorithms software which is used by the judges, it points towards the colored people as potential threat to society in the matter of grant of bail and all that. So there is a bias of the algorithm software.
Yeah, that is because they have fed the data has more number of crimes which is reported by this black people than white. So that's why whenever we train an algorithm, we make sure that whatever kind be the data, it is in the equal proportion. As I mentioned, even in case of cancerous and non-cancerous, there cannot be a mismatch. If 100 samples are fed, 50-50 should be the proportion. If not 50, at least 45 and 55, something like that. So if it is 20-80, 30-70, then such things happen. So that non-discrimination is also a concern, which most of these models may not work. And dedicated regulator for AI. So that's the need of our. We all need dedicated regulator for AI. So whom to hold accountable whenever things happen. So that is also a major.
This is where the lawyers, are interested. To whom the dedicated regulator for AI. Can you? Of course, we have question and answer session, but if you can stretch this little bit, that would help us.
Could you please repeat, sir? I didn't
Last
hear.
one, dedicated regulator for AI, and the person who is accountable for the misinformation, disinformation, etc. As of now, is there anybody who can be held accountable or responsible, not only in the court of law, at least in the legal segment? I will not interrupt, but I just wanted you to elaborate on this dedicated regulator for AI.
Yeah, we don't have dedicated regulator for AI, at least from Indian perspective. I did search a lot. We don't have. UK is not having. European commissions have. So every time they are taking the consent from the user, whenever you are opening your internet, start browsing, they are taking consent. So first it should start from taking consent from the user. If it is not there, for our country, at least with so much of population, at least that should come as a part of AI regulator. We should give our consent while using any app online. And whenever such discrimination or misinformation or fake news spread, a person, please, I come from a technical background because I believe that whatever machine does is based on the human input itself. So the human who generates it also should hold accountability. If not 100%, at least 50% accountability is on him. And also the 50% whether the machine has taken consent from a user to not to use it for the dangerous tasks, something like that. If that is not taken from the machine, even so, I will tick saying that I will not be indulging myself in such activities, but I might still do it. So you people should be able to tell me about it. But I also say whoever gives the prompt to a machine is all equally responsible, because it becomes a moral and ethical responsibility as a social animal for a human being to make sure that he is not spreading any fake or a false news. And that will, especially in Indian scenarios, it will just go it will have a huge impact. So anyone who generates or gives prompt to machine is one thing, and while giving also the data which is trained. Now we don't have how we should go about it. Okay, recently what I did, because I work on speech synthesis, I try to make machines sound like more humans. What we did is, there are publicly available data sets. They say that it is for research purpose you can use, and few of the data sets are also for commercial purpose. You can use our data, have your product which can speak your language. Okay, so for English, if I build a TTS is nothing but a speech synthesis. Machine will speak in a language of a speaker who has donated his voice for training. Okay, so initially they will say that I am okay to give my voice. Okay, so in European Commission, European law, they have that at any given point in time, if user wants to say that I don't want my data to be used, because initially I just give it for a research purpose, somebody wants to make a product out of it, just like Alexa and Siri. If my voice is being used everywhere, I'm not comfortable with it. I will be able to take it back. So in that case, I'm not sure about India. There is a policy. I got recently a mail. There is something called uh, speech voice. Speech voice, where it is American accent and Australian accent given by dedicated voice actors. So they have recently decided that their voice should be removed from the data. Now the potential threat and challenge I'll tell, because already I have trained my model and I have already implemented in my website where it will give the voice. Now suddenly, if the voice donors claim that they don't want it to be removed, okay, going forward, whenever I am using it for training, I will be able to remove it. But when I have already used it, I have already made a product out of, people would have already heard of it, so that cannot be undone. So we don't have a fixed regulations for it, at least for Indian case. Because it is European, this thing, they have given a mail that particular ID, that particular voice you should remove from your training data or delete from your training data. But how many of us do it? Because it's difficult to keep a track of all of it, even in the text generation. So there is a misinformation, continuous fake news generation, which irrespective of any political parties, people try to do it. So who will stop it, and who is going to regulate it? So before going to social media, do we have a regulatory board where whether it is fake or real? So can we do it? Because at least in Indian scenario it is not possible, because on a minute basis, some millions of tweets, some millions of statements are being generated on social media. So who will check the correctness of it? So even I do not have answers to many questions. So as long as a human being is used, he should be held accountable more than a machine, is my way to look into it. Maybe I might be wrong. I don't know. I need your inputs on it. So that was about the concern. Okay, this is what I was talking about. The recidivism risk score by ML algorithm, which the sir was also talking just a minute before. Like, it has given the risk score for the black people more than the white people. So the data used to train algorithm can be messy, subjective, and discriminatory, which we do not have control how to do it. So what can AI do for the administration of justice, and what does that require? So do we actually require artificial intelligent judgment than a human judge? Is it a need of our, do we actually require, because we are all social animals and we require this human touch wherever we go. So if machine is doing that job for us, so half of the hope, if it is if people have a hope that going to that particular person might solve my problem, if machine is sitting in that case, how one would approach it? So that is again a problem. Can we say that AI can replace a human judge? Probably not, at least for next 10-15 years. I'm not sure after that also how it can have a human cognition, because the emotions, and even the human judges may be having their own set of thoughts. They could be biased based on their rational thinking or whatever. But that bias can be reduced by AI, is said by this machine learning engineers. Okay, so the bias, at least from is removed from the machine if we have a fair amount of data, is the claim they say. So the Council of Europe has developed the ethical principles for the use of AI in the administration of justice. So that's what I am aware of the Europe ethical principles. Every time any data is being used, at least they have made sure that privacy is not breached, individual privacy is not breached. So how about in India that we have to see? Can legal information be made more usable for AI in India? So that's a legal implication. So now I just want to conclude because it's a very long and elongated debate. We cannot conclude simply because any evolution or any revolution that has taken place in the past. So when electricity was invented, people said that it will create a havoc. It did. Actually, if you consider the number of fatalities which have happened due to the mismanagement of electricity, is very limited in terms of the advantage we got because of electricity. Be it also the invention of computers. People thought after computer everybody will lose job just like that. No, we actually kind of the field we thought it will never be useful, where everywhere the computer is being used. So there is potential threat, but how do we manage it and how do we use it for the betterment of society and how we can help the society by introducing these technologies is always a debate. There is always a pros and cons. We have to live with it. There is no other option. So ultimately, it depends on how it is deployed and the ethical considerations surrounding its use. So I cannot just say that it is a boon or very advantageous or it's just a curse. It's not possible. So responsible and ethical use, along with safeguards to address its limitation, can maximize its benefits while minimizing potential negative consequences. That's why if we have a proper regulatory board for these machines while using and who is using, so there is a kind of a track whenever things are happening because everything is controlled. So anything you do goes to a cloud. So it will be stored there. We cannot say that it is not possible to monitor. Of course, it is possible, but it is a bit complicated job because enormous amount of members using it in a minute, in a second. So that's a challenge, but it is doable. It should be able to do, and we should be able to monitor. That's how we can safeguard the responsible usage of AI. And it is important for users and organizations to carefully consider the implications of AI technology like ChatGPT and use them in a ways that align with societal values and legal standards. So for all this, you people should help us to come up with a regulatory board or regulatory law which has a group of people, be it from the law firm, be it from the engineering or the artificial terms, the scientists. So they all should sit together and make certain regulatory governing rules. Then it should be able to serve as Boon, at least. So with that, I conclude my topic. I think I tried my level best to, tell the importance and also the implications in a layman term. If not, let's discuss now. So the stage is open for question and answers.
I will turn off the screen sharing.
Yeah, sure, sir. And I also, before that, I also thank for this opportunity. I want to thank Basuraj sir for giving me opportunity and talk to the lawyers of our state. This is my first experience where I have addressed non-technical audience.
You can switch off the your PowerPoint.
Stop share?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I can see. Madam Ashwini, that was a magnificent speech, both from the scientific and the legal perspective. You have done enormous research on the subject. So on behalf of the Karnataka State Bar Council, KSBC Law Academy, and the entire legal fraternity, I must congratulate you on this presentation on the artificial intelligence. Now, as you said, the law, especially the judiciary, has stepped in whenever an issue has cropped up, starting from, for example, the surrogate motherhood, there was no law as such. Now the parliament has stepped in and enacted a law, and the Supreme Court in Vishaka's case had to deal with the sexual harassment, and the parliament has stepped in, and it has come out with a law. So very soon these things have to be regulated, because when I searched for the latest judgment of the Supreme Court on this partition, ChatGPT is giving a judgment in Prakash versus Pulvati, which is already overruled by the Supreme Court. So it is quoting a judgment which is no more a good law. So therefore, these are the artificial intelligence based on human stupidity, if I can say sometimes. Therefore, we must be extremely cautious in relying on artificial intelligence for some of the legal aspects, because as I can see, one American lawyer, he apologized for fake court citations from ChatGPT. The ChatGPT created a judgment which was not there. It generated a judgment which would suit the advocate. He went and presented before the court, and later it turned out to be that there was no such judgment delivered by any court. So he had to apologize for the judgment. Roberto Mata sued one judgment, Avianca Airlines, for injuries he says he sustained. And when he searched for a judgment, it gave a judgment which is in his favor, and it turned out to be a fake judgment. Therefore, these are the practical difficulties which will be there for some time. As Madam said rightly, that it will take a decade or so before everything is rationalized and everything is synchronized to suit a perfect legal system. Now, I'll open the question and answer session. You can unmute yourself and you can start the video and you can ask the question. My colleague Rubina has started something, a legal venture based on this kind of artificial intelligence. So therefore, I think I better not start the video. 1 minute. Huh? Okay, you can unmute yourself and ask the questions.
Hello, I'm audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, good evening to all. So I was a bit confused with the session. Like Ms. Ashwini was telling to use the AI, or she was aware, like giving the awareness to us not to rely on the ChatGPT. It was little confusing to me. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry for my surroundings, because I'm traveling, and so
no problem. I'll rephrase the question that as of now, it will take a decade or so to completely synchronize the data with artificial intelligence. So what Robina is saying is that as on today, is it safe to rely on artificial intelligence, and you advised against it? That's what.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I still stand by my point. It is not a reliable source. You cannot rely on it, and you can never produce the proofs produced by it, as a sir mentioned, for your defense or somewhere. But you can definitely use it as an assistant. You can use it as language assistance, where you want to better type or better present your content. That is still feasible. That you can do, but not to rely on it for the proofs or the citation it gives, because it claims that, because it itself claims that it is not reliable. So whom to hold accountable for it? So that's a
I was having a study on this, and it's obvious. It's like, it's not like a human. It will not give any answers as a human tendency, and it will give only kind of like 50 to 60% of accuracy from the AI. Yeah. And I have got lots of help from the AI also. It is not like, it depends on us, like how do we use ChatGPT, if I'm not wrong. Not only the ChatGPT, you take any of the AI tools, it depends on solely on us, like how do we use it. See, it's not just like blindly we type some question and like we'll be expecting it to give some kind of miracle answer. No, that doesn't happen. So obviously, like if somebody is expecting some 100% of answer from the ChatGPT or any of the AI, then it is wrong. And I'm like bit unsatisfied with the answer which you are telling, like it's not to be relied on this, because I have got many of the help from the AI tools, like when I'm using it And I agree that it is not the entire 100% of accuracy which I got from AI tools, but it was kind of 70 to 80% of accurate results I have got from the AI. So and I have a question still. I have my question still open. Like, should we you? I mean, like that whatever the 70% result, what I am thinking it has come, whether it is true from your end or like, what do you say on that?
Yeah, okay, madam. It's very much subjective because for your case, 70% and 80% of accuracy goes well. Imagine the implication it causes in medical domain because even 0.1 accuracy mismatch of accuracy is a problem. The same if it goes okay because the advanced version will be able to classify the deceased and non-deceased cases. In that case, 70% accuracy you have cancer, 30% you don't have will not be a reliable source. It should be at least be able to say that 90 to 95, where doctors can say that it will go. As long as text generation alone is concerned, I still go because ChatGPT does enormous, tremendously good job. I still go with ChatGPT. I don't say that you shouldn't be using it. The only query, because I come from research background, so I'll be talking in that sense. So some student who writes essay, because we will be evaluating students based on how they write. It's on their own, they should write. So if they generate it from ChatGPT and claim that it is their own, there is ethical and moral question to it. So otherwise, if you are doing for a daily documentation, office purpose, I don't think there is any problem because just like Google, people are using it and just making it public. It has already some 25 million daily users. So there is no harm in using it.
See, one of the practical difficulty for the lawyers is the legal data is not fed enormously into this system because many of the legal data websites, they are chargeable. For example, Supreme Court cases, Manupatra, and other websites, they charge for the information they give. The head notes, the case laws, and as well as the notes, they're all copyrighted. Head notes are copyrighted, notes are not, but the judgments which they give is based on the subscription, monthly or annual for that matter. Therefore, the comprehensive data is not fed into the legal system, into the artificial intelligence system. As I just now pointed out, when I search for the latest judgment of the Supreme Court on co-personers, it referred to Prakash versus Pulvati, which is now no more a good law. It's overruled by the Supreme Court in Vinita Sharma's case. This is still referring to the earlier judgment. Therefore, as of now, the more information we feed into the system, I think we may get better results. Now, one question from Mr. Kanta is what is metaverse and its legal implication? In the chat box, you can see. Can you hear me, Ashwini?
Yeah.
Metaverse. What is metaverse and its legal implication?
I am also not sure about it. Metaverse, are you talking about the meta usage or is it some term related? Because I'm not heard. I'm sorry about
Suryakant
it.
asked this question. I don't know whether he's still there. Mr. Suryakant asked this question. No, from my side, the question is, no, for example, if the Supreme Court cases is a website which gives comprehensive judgments and all the judgments of the Supreme Court. So it will not, of course, it has the disclaimer. It has a statutory, the formal disclaimer. And if something goes wrong, we can certainly sue the Eastern Book Company. So if something goes wrong and a complete false information, wrong information is furnished by ChatGPT, whom can we make responsible? Before that, I asked the question, who owns this ChatGPT? For example, the regular ChatGPT or artificial, is there anybody who owns this? Or is it public domain kind of thing?
It's not individual. There are a group of people who started it. It's OpenAI. It's an organization, just like any other company. It's a company. You can definitely, if they are also facing few legal case recently. Probably Italy has banned it. China by default bans everything. Italy people have put a defamation case or something whether I'm not sure about it, you can definitely hold the owners accountable again, because they have their claims that they cannot be held because it's a machine. But right now, the father of ChatGPT is OpenAI. We can still say
As I
that.
said, many scholars and writers have claimed copyright violation by AI, John Grisham and all that. Now, as you said, you asked the question that the law should step into the scenario. Now, the Japan and UK, they've already come out with the Road Safety Act. It's an enactment passed by the UK and also Japanese parliament, which deals with the self-driven cars. In India, it's yet to come, but in UK there is already an act called Motor Road Safety Act. Also, Japanese Parliament has come out with a enactment on this aspect, because as the need grows, the Parliament or the judiciary will step in. Therefore, tomorrow on the violation on the questions dealing with the violation of copyright infringement or even passing off and patent violation, patent registration, etc., the Supreme Court or the legislation, as the case may be, will step in and come out with a plenary legislation or a subordinate legislation under the Information Technology Act to deal with these complex issues. It's too early to enact a law in especially on the artificial intelligence, but a time will come where the legal implications of artificial intelligence is so severe and encompassing the litigations that the Parliament and the Supreme Court has to step in and frame legislation or judicial precedent to cover these aspects. So on this note, I thank all the audience who have assembled.
Sir, one more question.
There is a question from Mr. Prashant. Yes.
I'm Prashant here, and thank you, sir, for organizing this particular very good topic. And we also got more information. Thank you, Ashwini. Just want to add a few more things. Like in India, I think everything is taken for granted. If you go by that any data, there is no system like even Google has every data from the users. As like even the Supreme Court also has already got into step into that thing like adopting artificial intelligence for issuing their
Translation.
yeah, analysis as well as even consumer compliance and for their own things. They want to adopt this artificial intelligence to take use of that. But looking at all this aspect, now because of the chat GTP has created a revolution and we are into that. But similarly, there are other competitors like Microsoft, Google, and other LLP or some other artificial intelligence. They are also coming up with the competition. We don't know. We are a part of the revolution. But how do you see that when we want to get into some kind of restrictions on the usage? Is there a possibility that users can make a representation to restrict their data? Is there any options available in such? Because we see that most of the things, if we ask for a draft a salary, it will draft us. And if you ask a write an email, it will write an email to us. It will assist us. But the thing is, the usage, it's not in our control. But is there any system where if I say if there is an organization, if someone is using that particular chat GTP, can the guidelines can be controlled through the organization like Government of India when there is a chat GTP is already introduced when people are using it? Can the government make a request, or is there any example in any other countries that taking a use such kind of open sources for their usages? Maybe I don't know whether my question is clear to you or not.
Yeah. No, I understood. At least it's not open source as such. So if you see everything which you talk, which you type, China closely monitors every user's information, but it is not open source. It is possible because we are same population as much. Probably they are much bigger than us. China does it to a greater extent. European Council also does it, but they have not.
Yeah, it's frozen. I'll call her.
So even if at the correct time you may not be able to monitor and check the responses, but who did it at what time, all the information is present with the admin for the organization. So the same, if you want to just fine tune to the legal what matters, you can fine tune your model, and you can also ask a company to give a model, because they have already pre-trained model which can fine tune based on your requirement. So you want a particular information to be removed and only a particular information to be fetched. That can also be done. It's all possible. They have full control over that model, that company, OpenAI.
To add what my friend said, that under the copyright law, you are aware that an idea cannot be copyrighted. For example, somewhere in 2014, there is a company called TerraVision. It filed a case against Google for the violation of its Google Maps, because the TerraVision came out with some sort of a map which is similar to Google Earth. So the Google Earth came out with a better version and introduced all sorts of 3D images and all that. So TerraVision said that Google Earth has violated its copyright. There is a beautiful series on this subject, but ultimately the court had to reject the claim of TerraVision, saying that basically that an idea cannot be copyrighted. Basically, an idea, for example, electric cars, an idea like self-driven cars, these are the ideas which cannot be copyrighted. So similar to that, this is an idea which is emerging, and many more industries, many more entrepreneurs, and many more industry houses may come out with the artificial intelligence, and tomorrow there will be a major war on the copyright issues, infringement, war passing off, and patent and all that. Anyway, the lawyers should be, according to me, geared up to face the challenges with the guns blazing and the swords drawn. So be ready, and if you have any questions, meet madam and discuss. I hope that Ashwin will be part of the judicial segment and the legal segment to develop this area further, to number one, prevent any complications, number two, to regulate the entire scenario, and the third one is to guide the lawyers. Any other questions?
I just want to add one more question into this. See, today we are seeing only about that written version of that ChatGPT thing. I don't know in future whether whatever the things we have seen over the social media, like it also can speak out as and like manipulate, or it also can make out the voices. Is it true, or is it just a kind of a social media kind of a news?
It's very much possible. If text is there, from text to speech, it's just a matter of some time. It will be able to do. The thing is, you are reading it. If you feed the same text to a machine, it does the synthesis. The machine can speak. That can be done. So it will, answer your queries based on your voice also. So they are trying. Now OpenAI is on the mission. So that's where these Elon Musk and the team are asking them to stop the training. So they are asking them to stop training for 6 more months so that it is not outperforming human intelligence.
A few months ago, one of the Kerala software engineer, he created the clip from The Godfather Part 2, where Mohanlal was playing the role of Al Pacino and Mammootty was playing the role of this Italian gangster. I think most of you have seen that. He was so scared. It superimposed the face of Mohanlal to Mr. Al Pacino, and Mammootty's to the Italian gangster. It was fantastic, no doubt about it. But today morning, I came across a few videos where the voice of Mr. Narendra Modi, was used to create. It was as if his voice, he was singing several songs. And few days ago, they used the Mahatma Gandhi's voice to sing Janagana Mana. So I think these are the products of artificial intelligence, Ashwini.
Yeah, that is my research actually. So if you give me 2 hours of your data, I'll make your machine speak the way Alexa speaks. So Mr. Basavaraj actually speaks from the moon. So that's possible. Any one of you here can, if you give me 2 hours of your voice, I will give you a speech synthesis model in your own voice, where you will not be able to make out whether it is original or computer generated. So that's the technology we have come forward. And we can also manipulate. Ashwini's voice can be cloned to Basavaraj's voice or vice versa, something like that. So voice cloning is also very important. So the way people do dubbing, whatever mimicry artist job is also
Everything is at stake.
Everything is at stake. Absolutely, you are absolutely right. Very extremely dangerous scenario. Only 1 second. Only 1 second. Only 1 second.
There is one more question Sangarsh has asked. Is that AI help in research paper because some source is contained with copyright? I didn't get the question, but if you are asking about copyright, yeah, research paper produced by ChatGPT or something, it's not reliable because who is the author? Whenever we are writing a paper, it should be the contribution from the author itself, not just the technical contribution, the writing part also, how they have written. If machine is writing on behalf of us, so whether it is ethical, people do it, but there is no copyright issue because the text generated cannot be claimed as an individual's property, but it is not ethical. That's it. There is no copyright issue in research paper writing. I hope I answered Sangarsh.
Okay, only 1 second. I just wanted to play. Can you see me? Can you watch this?
Yeah.
Now this is Mr. Mohanlal playing the role of this stupid
ಅರೆ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ತಪ್ಪಾಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ಆಗೋಲ್ಲ. ಸಾರಿ ಕಣೆ. 1 ಕಪ್ನಿಂದ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗದಿದ್ರೆ ಬ್ರೂ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕಾಫಿ 3 ಕಪ್ 3 ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ.
Okay, noted. Now you see this Mohanlal.
Corleone family wants to buy you out. Corleone family wants to buy me out.
Mammootty.
No, I buy you out. You don't buy me out. Your casino loses money. Maybe we can do better. You think I'm skimming off the top, Mike?
This is AI.
You're unlucky.
Yeah, it's voice cloning. Applications of AI.
Also facial. See the facial.
Goddamn guineas really make me laugh. I do you a favor. Take
We can see the video actually. We can only see some document. We can hear the, but I cannot see the. Even that is possible.
No. Are you watching the video?
No, video is not visible. There is some document.
Okay. Only 1 second. Now that we have time, let me see. Only 1 second. Only 1 second. This is the article. Can you see that now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Casino.
Now this is the face of Mohanlal, and the voice is that of Al Pacino in Godfather Part 2.
Corleone family wants to buy you out. Corleone family wants to buy me out. No,
This is
I
Mammootty.
buy you out. You don't buy me out. Your casino loses money. Maybe we can do better. You think I'm skimming off the top, Mike? You're unlucky. You goddamn guineas really make me laugh. I do you a favor and take Freddie in when you're having a bad time, and then you try to push me out. Wait a minute. You took Freddie in because the Corleone family bankrolled your casino because the Molinari family on the coast guaranteed his safety. Now we're talking.
So there, the original voice is that of Al Pacino, and now the face is superimposed. Very scary scenario.
Yeah, morphing is done. So it's again super threat, at least for Indian female celebrities. It might go wrong.
What you are doing is a magnificent job of preserving the language of the tribals in India, which is very much required. As I quoted Dr. Ishwara, but the languages are perishing. Every year, I am told about 200 languages are perishing, and along with the languages, the medicinal value, the culture, the script, and some of the unique habits and cultures associated with that language are also gone. Therefore, what you are doing is a fantastic job. On that note, on behalf of the Karnataka State Bar Council, KSBC Law Academy, and the entire legal fraternity, I congratulate you. And with another equally interesting subject, we shall meet again maybe next week. Till then, goodbye. Shiva Sanjay. Thank you, madam.
Thank you.